by herself at a table. You know, white lady, like you just white as a white, right? And I'm like, okay, what can you get a drink? She was like, well, I would like a glass of Chardonnay, but my boyfriend will like Hennessy. And I'm like, Hennessy? That white dudes don't drink Hennessy. Because she is like the stereotypical like white girl from the suburbs. She's wearing a sundress.
Right.
She's got her makeup done. Like she's on a date.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, maybe I'm just being a little racist. There's probably at least one white guy out there who likes Hennessy. I come back with the drinks, and I'm telling you, dude was Ladarion. He was wearing a wife beater, freaking his house shoes. He had his do-rag still on. And I'm like, this shit work. I don't know what's going on here.
Good for him.
I just want to be like, all right, brother. Because, you know, I hate to be judgmental, but, you know, there's generally a type of white woman that likes a certain type of black.
Hey, Anthony. Right.
And you can tell.
Well,
you know, I used
to feel that way. But if you go to a spot up by your house, I'm not gonna put into things on blast because people may. When you go to a spot by your house, it's
you talking about 37 Main?
Look, if you want to call a name, I ain't calling no names. But it's a spot where if you go downstairs in it, I feel like majority of the ones that don't be looking for us be down there looking for us, and it is wild to me.
I've been down there. I don't know. I still think there's a type of you can be like, okay, she got the haircut. She probably like black dudes.
You're saying I have a chance.
Right.
No, those people don't want me.
I mean, they would. You just gotta actually, do things like introduce yourself and speak to them, because they're humans.
And as soon as I said, so, what house in the Harry Potter you in? She'd be like, nope.
I think it's very in style now to like that stuff. I mean, hell, we saw when when the video game came out, it was a whole bunch of black people repping for it. So
that was the best part.
Now, if this would have been like when the second Harry Potter had been out, and you would have said that, you'd have got drilled.
When I was in college, man.
I always say that. Like, I miss my era of like the corny black dude being in style. Like, if I'd have been still in school with like Drake and J. Cole and all these corny black dudes that rap, I'd have been perfect for this era. Right. Perfect for this era.
No,
don't worry.
That's a
reincarnation,
lie.
Baby.
I told you. There's never corny black dudes are never in style. They lied to you.
Remember 21 Jump Street? Whenever they like go back to high school and Jonah Hill's like, I was just born 10 years too early. Remember, like Channing Tatum like punches the black kid, and he's like, "Oh, look, he's crying. That's okay." He's like, "You punched me because I'm gay." He's like, "No, I punched you, and you happen to be gay." And it's like, I was always gay. You punch me because I'm
gay. Like, wow, that's cool, bro.
That whole scene is just absolutely amazing. Like. Because there's just
true.
No winning for Channing Tatum in that entire scene. And I love it.
He becomes the outcast while Jonah Hill becomes... Oh, yeah. Any news?
Yes. Any news we have?
The Kraven the Hunter trailer.
I was going to say, I saw the trailer for Kraven. Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, but I never knew... I thought Kraven was just a regular-ass dude.
Kraven's just a dude.
Hunted dude. So this one, he's like... lion blooded. Like, what are we doing, man? What are we doing, Sony? How do you make Across the Spider-Verse and then make this shit?
I have hope for it because it's rated R. It looks like there's gonna be some cool action scenes in it. But like, as a comic book fan, as a person who is gonna go see every stupid DC movie they put out, every stupid Marvel movie they put out, I don't want this. I don't give a shit about Kraven the Hunter. I don't care. I don't care. It could be the next best thing since freaking the greatest great train robbery, and I don't give a fuck. I just don't care. Like, stop.
Just don't name it Kraven and just make its own independent IP, because that still works. It like doesn't anyway. That's just terrible, man.
I don't understand what they're trying to do. I just don't get it. Because like, are they trying to build up so they can say, oh, we have all these Spider-Man villains, but they're not really villains, and they're not really like the characters you know as villains. And for some reason, we're going to put them in a movie so they can fight Spider-Man, even though it's not going to make any sense because none of them even know who Spider-Man is. And none of them are really villains. Like at the end of freaking Morbius, which you haven't seen, thank the gods, they have this freaking scene with the Vulture and Morbius, and the Vulture's like, I think Spider-Man has something to do with this. And Morbius like, okay, we'll team up. And it's like, you don't even know who Spider-Man is. Like, even if you did, like, why do you care? Like, he didn't do nothing to you.
Morbius is in the Venom world, right? Or no, I guess he would be in. I don't know. The timelines get wonky.
Even in the Venom movies, like Venom is one of Spider-Man's greatest villains, and like you have that cut scene at the end of, was it in the No Way Home, where Venom is in there and he looks at the TV and Venom's symbiote's like, oh, that's the guy. Like, why do you care? Like, you don't know him. He hasn't done nothing to you.
The only thing I'm thinking of in that scene is that they were looking for him to help get home. That's the only thing that's why I thought he said that's him. Because that was like
2 seconds later he goes home.
Sure, but the whole point was to leave part of the symbiote suit behind. That that's what that was for.
They could have not done.
Oh, I'm with you, Lisa. You're just saying it's all trash. I'm with you.
I agree. I mean, but when we're saying what were they thinking, I know what they were thinking. It still just didn't make any sense. So
it's
there were other ways to do it. Yeah,
because there's probably kids out there who have like really good screenplays and really good ideas of new and wonderful IPs that probably would make Sony money, and like, oh no, we're just gonna do another shitty Spider-Man villain, and we'll probably probably not return our money. We'll probably break even, and we'll just keep doing that until we grind down Disney enough to let us make another Spider-Man movie. And it's like, or you give one of these kids a chance. Take half that budget you put on that stupid Spider-Man thing, give this kid a chance to make a good movie and see what happens. Take a risk for once. I don't know. I mean, like it did back in the fucking old days.
Sony can make all the money in the playbook with the Spider-Man stuff. It's just that they, one, like you said, lack creativity, but then two, they don't want to move in the right direction. Like, so let's go. Sony can say, hey, MCU, you could fully have Peter Parker Spider-Man. Do what makes you well. Just keep our same split. You give us money for that, whatever. Sony can make that whole universe around Miles Morales as Spider-Man and then give them the Ultimate Universe versions of those characters, and they can run with it. And from then, they can branch off to all the other stuff, because then you can basically do a live-action version of Into the Spider-Verse. I mean, not the exact story, but bring in other characters. You can also do it with Ghost Spider. Like, you can literally, because you own Spider-Man, do all the different variations and make movies from that, which would be way more interesting than Kraven the Hunter.
Rather see a Ghost Spider or Spider-Woman, either or Jessica Drew or Gwen Stacy, I don't give a crap, movie, than Kraven the Hunter. I don't care about Kraven the Hunter. I do not care. Like, I barely care about a Joker movie. And I'm like, I do not care. And even though the Joker movie was good, I'm like, I don't care about the Joker unless he's with the Batman, right?
Yes, I agree.
I
don't care how good it is. I don't care how good it is. Yeah,
like, Yeah. Like, great, you gave me this nice auteur movie about a crazy white dude. Okay, is there another crazy white dude dressed as a bat that's going to kick his ass? Then I don't care.
right. Or if you are going to do a Joker story, like, and you're not going to do, let's say, Sans the Bat, like, you could do the Killing Joke origin and make that a very interesting. I mean, they did a spiff run of it, but like they got the whole thing where he's trying to like societally change things. Like, nah, you could just do a movie that does not know that it's a Joker movie, and then at the end be revealed that it was the Joker movie. Like, remember, it was some movie that was on Netflix that was like about space or whatever.
Wrong. You love him so much. He
was Kraken the Hunter. Like, it was a Netflix movie about space, and Well, but I didn't do well. But
it was
people.
It was the Clover. It was linked to the Cloverfield stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People speculated that that would have been a great movie to be like to introduce Venom in, like a symbiote, and like at the end realize that's what it was, so that the whole movie you're not fixated on the reality.
Cloverfield
did they get this character right? Like you're just making a movie that ends up with that being the origin of it. But anyway, I mean, if creativity like this was known in those hires up, then again, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
DC wouldn't have flamed out like they did if they actually had an inkling of creativity.
I mean,
or just like collaborated. Like I just think it's obvious that they're incapable of putting egos aside. That's what I think it boils down to. Is it just they're incapable of putting egos aside?
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Yeah, and like what I say, egos and collaborate. They're just incapable of it. So you just get all these mismatched. I want to do this. I want to do that. Blah blah blah. It's like just okay then. Great.
At the end of the day,
John,
it all boils down to they just want to make their stockholders happy, right? They just want to make money. They don't give a shit. And they don't give a shit about creativity. Let's just call a spade a spade. They don't give a shit about creativity. They just want to make returns on their investment. And they're going to go for the safest way to make returns on their investment. And this shoveling us the same crap or crap that no one wants, but they know that enough people are going to buy because of curiosity or for whatever reason, they're going to do that. And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
Yes. Anthony put up about the Punisher, like in 1985, when I agree it should be rated R. All Punisher movies should be rated R. But my favorite Punisher movie, which I feel like goes under the radar, is the Ray Stevenson, God rest his soul. Yeah. Like that Punisher felt like he could go up against mutants and probably rock their shit. Like the movie wasn't the greatest, but if you want,
that was the second one.
Yeah.
And that movie was
bloody, the violence.
That one was dark.
Yeah,
that was like directed by a woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's the Punisher I would have seen. Like that opening scene when he busted the window and he's just wreaking havoc on like that works. And like that's something you can say, oh, I can see why mutants or other superpower beings could be like a little bit shook by this guy. He was, Ray Stevenson in real life was what, 6'4", 6'5", and he was jacked. So it's like, yeah, this is the dude you want to see. No disrespect to Bernthal. Like I haven't really given Punisher the shot. Yeah, but he's still like 5'8". I'm sorry. Ain't no 5'8" dude intimidating me if I got superpowers.
Damn. So Wolverine at 5'3" ain't gonna intimidate you.
Bruh, think about it. Nobody's intimidated by Wolverine. Wolverine runs up on you and does work, but nobody in the initial was like,
everybody's like, oh, look at that little guy over there.
How cute he is.
Right. And then he comes and punches you with metal bones.
And then when they see him again, they're like, no.
Right.
Don't touch.
No squeezy.
Let's not get it twisted. Like Wolverine most time in fights gets rocked. It's just the healing factor bails him out. Or the animated skeleton bells. He gets rocked a lot.
Yeah, he's no Nightcrawler.
Facts.
So, real quick, while we're still just kind of chatting, I read this article, which means that I saw a couple of TikToks.
That's exactly the way I want it.
We're talking about Dwayne the Rock Johnson versus John Cena and Batista, and how like John Cena and Batista have completely like catapulted their career, and The Rock is literally just like stagnant, and it's because again he just can't put his ego aside, and like where Batista and John Cena are purposely going after directors instead of roles, so they will do roles outside of their like comfort zone or that like they don't have to be the badass. They don't have to be the badass all the time. They don't always. So if The Rock is going to be in a movie, then he, regardless if he's a good guy or the bad guy, he's going to win. And so it's just like the same thing over and over. And I kind of agree, because especially when you have that, what's that movie we just watched with him? Black Adam.
Yeah.
Like
there was no stakes to it because he knew The Rock wasn't going to lose. And I also saw the same TikToks because they were also comparing him to Arnold Schwarzenegger, because Arnold Schwarzenegger in the beginning of his career pretty much attached himself to anybody that was going to make him a franchise, right? James Cameron, freaking, he did a lot of shit, right? Like, but, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger has this great canon of movies where you're like, he's the Terminator, or Cobra, not Cobra, that's Sylvester Stallone, or you know, Commando, or you know, all these cool movies. Whereas The Rock's like, what is his defining character? You don't know. It's just The Rock, right?
Yeah, like
because he doesn't, as you said, he doesn't attach himself to film directors. He attaches himself to roles in which he can be, and that goes to a story where Arnold Schwarzenegger was late to a set one day, and James Cameron like choose him a new one, and I believe I can't remember who else is in the scene with him. I want to say it was like Bill Paxton or somebody else. Was like, why'd you're Arnold fucking Schwarzenegger? Why'd you let him cheat? Like, you know, cheat out like that? And he's like, because I was wrong. Could you imagine The Rock saying I was wrong?
No, I couldn't.
And could you imagine anybody on the set of any Rock movie that has more power than The Rock?
No.
Well, I think now we're getting the narrative out of control here. Now, one. So first, comparing the three wrestlers, yes, the argument of what they're seeking to do is absolutely correct. But also, let's put in perspective though that those two are probably seeking to flex their acting muscle.
Yeah,
The Rock isn't as much, but also put in perspective that those two also don't command the money The Rock commands as well.
Yeah,
I mean, at one point, The Rock was the highest paid actor in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Neither one of them are really close to that. So let's put it in perspective here what we're talking about in that regard.
But I think they're trying to have a longer career is really the argument. Like where The Rock is going to eventually just gas out, or I guess, or he could just be like Sylvester Stallone and still be making mummy movies when he's 70. I don't know.
But again, I was going to say that's what I was going to say. That's why the narrative is out of control, because when The Rock did do different things, it wasn't well received. Y'all forget about the Tooth Fairy. He had a lot of run of like other shit that just sucked. That we were like, nah, we good. And then when he got into ultra action mode is when he made his most money and got the most popular. Like even was it Central Intelligence with Kevin Hart? Like nobody cares about those movies with The Rock.
Oh my God, I love that movie.
Goofy and more so yes, The Rock is just one note, and that's fine. But I agree with you. I think also we give Arnold way too much credit because Arnold could look in hindsight to say this.
Yeah.
Arnold didn't know who the fuck was directing Conan when he only had like 2 lines in it. And it was
because he didn't speak English.
He had more lines in it. But when he had more lines in it in the second one, it was bullshit. So like let's not make it twisted like Arnold didn't have a bunch of misses. Like was he lucky that he got with a younger Jim Cameron that kind of made him into a star? Because O.J. Simpson technically was going to be the Terminator.
Yeah,
they thought that
really?
O.J. Simpson couldn't kill him.
Yeah, but they didn't think O.J. was going to be a killer.
Nobody believed O.J. could be a killer. So let's not make it seem like Arnold was like, oh, Jim Cameron, I want him. Nah, Jim Cameron was like, nah, we just need a big, muscle-bound, silent motherfucker. That dude will do. Because in Terminator 1, Arnold don't say much in it. Like, my point is that Arnold's great. And Arnold's my favorite movie star of all time. So me saying this is being a reality. Arnold has had a lot of luck. Yeah. He's had a lot of luck in his role choices that ended up being bigger than what they were because, I mean, again, Jim Cameron wasn't the James Cameron we knew until after T2. Like, T1 was great, but nobody was out here busting down the doors to get Jim Cameron to do something for them. Like, even after Aliens was such a hit, it still wasn't that kind of run. Like, so, anyway, my point is that Arnold's had some luck. I think The Rock, now at this stage, like you said, it's going to be very hard because now he's typecast. So these great directors that won him aren't going to be running for him. But you forget too, remember The Rock played he was a gay character in Be Cool or the Get Shorty arena. Like he's done different things that just didn't hit that nobody cared about. And so when he found the niche that made him money, who wouldn't ride that out? So I mean, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Like the narrative on that is a little skewed because they're acting like people were like, "Oh man, The Rock in this role, let's see it." They were like, "Nah, we don't want to see that Joker in that. We want to see that Joker be The Rock," and that's what he got into, and he hit it. Now we're like, "Oh, we're tired of seeing The Rock," but that's what we asked for from him, and he gave us what we asked for. Now we're like, we're tired, and now we have to see what his next evolution will be, and I feel like that's where we're at now.
He should play Mr. Freeze and just ham it up.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, the best analogy is
Just become the next Terminator, become Mr. Freeze, just
do exactly what Arnold did.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's 30 years later.
It's a recipe for success. It's not a big deal.
Arnold
Even though I think Jason's right, Batista's the best actor out of all of them now.
Yeah,
I will agree with you.
Hands down.
I should have known it earlier, but he is the best out of all of them by far.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is Michael Jordan, and The Rock is Tony Kukoc.
I was gonna say, do you know another basketball player? Or
I was gonna say The Rock is LeBron James, but then they'd be like, oh yeah, because he's better than Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm like, no. That's not,
yeah, you had to think real hard about that
one. No. I was gonna say, what's the dude that used to play for the for Milwaukee? Not Milwaukee. Reggie. He has a sister that's really good at basketball too.
Reggie Miller.
Reggie Miller, yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
The Rock is Reggie Miller.
Yeah.
Reggie Miller had a Hall of Fame career. I think he'll take that.
There's a documentary.
All right, I guess
because his sister's like way better than him at basketball.
Oh,
like,
that's amazing.
You want to start at 22?
Yeah, and he hates it because every time he like
any
did
other
something.
News while we have a minute left, real quick.
I wanted to talk about the submarine. Thing, but we don't have enough time now.
We can start later. No, that's fine. Submarine, let's go. Yellow Submarine. Let's go ahead and talk about
it.
Go, Jason.
I would say that I am grateful that they did not suffer.
Yeah.
However, I will be making billionaire submarine jokes for the rest of the time. I'm so sorry that you got your fucking ass in that dub and decided that was a good idea. That was some white people shit, and it happened out the way it should have happened out.
So they did find the submarine now? They did find
They found pieces of it.
Yeah. So like the thought is now that it like imploded while they were descending. So they never even So the thing I want to talk about,
it was the Meg.
Yeah, the Meg. You're right. It was the Meg. What I want to talk about is they had to pay $250,000 a person to go, right? Mm-hmm. Which, when I was thinking about it, is a lot of money. Like $250,000.
Not comparatively.
I know, but then I had originally thought like that still seems kind of cheap for a bunch of billionaires, you know?
Yeah.
And then so someone had done like the equivalent of someone who makes, what do they say, $40,000 a year. It would be the equivalent of someone making $40,000 a year paying $10 a person.
Exactly.
To go. $10 a person to go.
I'll need you to raise that price.
That's how like that's insane. Like that just blew my mind that it. And then one of the guys had gone to space before, and I'm just like, can we just eat the rich already and just get it over with? This is just completely.
The Meg did. He took care of that for us, and that's submarine.
Yeah.
There was.
And I go again. We're not making light of anybody's death. I want to make sure we do disclaimer here. This is an entertainment show. If this distastes what you guys, sorry. It kind of is what it is. Like. Just want to throw that out there because people get really personal when you make jokes about the dead.
While we're, being so concerned about these poor rich people, being crushed to death, this very same, weekend or this week, 85 people have drowned trying to make their way from, Pakistan and Egypt to a better life. And, who's on the news? Not those guys.
Exactly. So then I went down like the conspiracy theory, like rabbit hole, like how they actually never boarded because there's no footage of them boarding. And it was all just like smoke and mirrors just to get people watching that instead of paying attention to the news. And
I don't know. The Illuminati's not real. Because if it was, we wouldn't know about it, or we would know about it.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. Secret organization that everybody knows about. Yeah. Very true. Also, here's the thing that I tell people all the time when they tell me this. I'm like, so.
Yeah.
Like you can't stop them. If it is true, you can't stop them.
So why we can't like, just go about it? And that's right. The problem I have, like conspiracy theorists or like these, like, oh, it's Illuminati and stuff like that. It's like, we know the people who are actually doing things. They put Ron DeSantis is actively trying to genocide against trans peoples, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a person. But if we put this nebulous group of unknown people, then this is might as well just shut up and not talk about it because ain't nothing we can do about it. Like you're just saying, you're basically saying, oh, it's Illuminati, so therefore I'm powerless. I can't do anything about it. So stop talking. Like
you're just getting riled up for
for no reason. Like if they control everything, okay, then we are sheep. Let's just go and eat our grass.
So is a really good answer. I think that is a really good
the Illuminati did that because they trying to do world population control. So like what are you gonna do? Like okay, all right.
Dude, this should give me all the time at Papa Doe.
Yeah, what are we doing? Because I got some anime I want to watch. So unless we're like strapping up now and like actively doing something, I got things to do. So
like every time something tragic would happen at Papa Doe, like the first thing it's the Illuminati trying to steal our guns. I'm like, really? They're really trying to steal our guns? Like the Illuminati is trying to steal our guns. Okay. I'll see how that works out. Come back to me in 2 weeks when our guns are gone. All right.
Yeah.
Like maybe they should. Man. Maybe they should steal our guns. Maybe we wouldn't have so many damn school shootings and mass shootings out there.
Yeah.
Like, you're not doing your job, Illuminati.
Let's just try and see what happens.
You can send a drone to blow up a cottage in Iraq. You have no chances with your guns.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah, your AR-15 is not going to stop the government, Chad.
Yeah.
Like that ship has
all right.
sailed.
Yeah. All right.
Any other news?
Now we should start doing the show.
Yeah. No, I have no news.
27.
27. Here we go.
Yes.
Here we go. Shake it out.
Give you very little time.
Like, wow.
Like that lady.
Unique New York. Unique New York.
We're not that professional. My booey. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Head Cannon Circus podcast. We are so thankful for you guys joining us today with all our thousands and thousands of viewers. See, if you speak it and you believe it and you wish it, it'll never happen because that's not how life works. You just got to work hard. Mm-hmm. That's what my mom says. Mm-hmm. We are here today.
Get those bootstraps up.
Yeah, we got to pull ourselves by our bootstraps. That's how you do it. You gotta somehow, defy gravity by pulling your feet up above you so you get higher.
Defying gravity.
That is definitely the whitest saying. Because only white people would think that you could like defy a fundamental law and just like that's how I got my success.
It's a metaphor.
It's a bad metaphor.
Fun fact about that metaphor: it originally was meant to be used for how you could not get yourself out of poverty, and they flipped it like they do everything to make it seem like, oh, this is how you get yourself out of poverty. So the Illuminati's playing tricks on you guys.
Yeah,
the Illuminati
it is. Of course, we have a wonderful show for you guys today. We are going to be reviewing The Flash as well as The Blackening, but I could not do any of this stuff without my two lovely co-hosts. He is the Reggie Miller to my LeBron James.
Okay. I'll take it. I'm a shooter. That means I'm a shooter. That's all. I'm a shooter. Oh man, I'm good. Glad we out there track meet today. Carter won first place in 800. So in Georgia's age group, so she's out here doing her thing. So yeah, Kennedy did well too. Kennedy finished in the top 10. So I don't want to leave my other daughter out. She still did well as well, but So
she's just not going to get as much love as the other one did.
Yeah, well,
winners got to win.
Yeah, winners get ice cream. Losers get more chores.
Losers get regular kitchen dinner that we got to heat up in a microwave. Try better next time. But other than that, man, I'm great here and excited to review. We got my man Anthony here on the chat, which I know he's here to listen to the Blackening because he's a horror fan like myself. So we're here. We got to do Anthony? It.
And of course, she is the Cheryl Miller to our Reggie Bush. And
I already forgot his analogy.
She's the best one here. Lisa, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Guys. How y'all doing?
I'm here, alive. That's a good thing. I was not crushed to death in a submarine. So,
well, yep.
For those who are joining us for the first time, or those who have been joining us, please do this thing that I like to call like, share, subscribe. If you do this, if you like, share, subscribe, preferably if you share, one person share with two people, and then they share with two people, and then they share with two people, and then they share with two people. That's like 8 people right there.
Math.
And then we will be rich and famous because then it feeds the algorithm. And when you feed the algorithm, then we can be like Jake Paul, Logan Paul, and we can like put on boxing matches where each of us make $1 billion, where we just fight like people who don't know how to box. And like they're like, hey, okay. And I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. And then we will benefit you guys because some of you guys are our friends. And we're like, yo, you want to go on a submarine trip vacation to the Titanic? And you're like, yeah, let's do it.
Nope. No, we will not. No, we will not. We'll be like, nope.
Look,
seen that movie.
If we make it, guys, I promise to bring everybody with me. So Anthony, every horror movie we get premieres to, you can come with me.
Yeah.
If we make it, we're bringing everybody with us.
But you have to be an early subscriber. We're not gonna, we're gonna be like MC Hammer, man. We're gonna be everybody in the hood is coming up with us, all right?
Yeah. No tag-alongs later. So you gotta get it while the getting's good.
So please make sure to do that. And also, please make sure to visit our website of headcanoncircus.com. It is back up. It is here. You can do things like watch our latest episodes or listen to them and listen to videos and interact with us and all sorts of stuff and suggest things that we should watch if you if you sign up. We'll also have a mailing list eventually. I don't know. Maybe free pizza days. I don't know what's going on. Don't quote me on the free pizza days.
It's all dependent on you guys.
It's all dependent on you guys. If we get rich enough, maybe we get free pizza days.
Yeah.
Get everybody's address and send them out pizzas.
Sure.
We can do that if you guys, interact with us, like, share, subscribe, and do all the things.
You like Nino Brown handing out turkeys.
It's great. I worked very hard for this. It's got videos, it's got blogs, it's got all sorts of stuff. You can log in and log out. It's its own greatest thing. So go there and do that. And that is the introduction that I have prepared. I actually wrote this down and executed it perfectly.
I mean, one day we just need to, and this is probably, it goes to all the great things Lisa's always told us in the past. We need to just record our intros and ads, so we can just press the button. You gotta worry about it.
We sure do.
Consistent. You gotta worry about this shenanigans.
And then we just start. Yes.
Right. Look,
one day we'll do it one day. It's fine.
If you guys want to be professionals about this and just be all like working hard and stuff, like, then we can do it, but I
actually
am lazy.
Actually, I'll just think if from now on when we start, I'll just beatbox a theme song. And so it's like, oh, welcome to the, I'll make up some beatbox theme song that we'll just do every time. And it'd be a different song that I imagine every time. And it'd be terrible, but it'd be a great intro.
You seem like the kind of guy that knows how to beatbox.
Go ahead. I support your choices.
Go ahead and do that.
It would be something dumb. I'd be like, like it'd be something ridiculous that my kids can do.
Look what I can do. This is a song I made up.
It's like so terrible that everybody's gonna want the show to start because they don't want to hear that shit anymore.
It's like, all right, go to sleep. Well, without further ado, let's get started.
You want to start with the Flash or the Blackening? Which one do you want to start with?
Which one do you want to start with?
Let's start with the Blackening because I got a lot of stuff to get off my chest.
Let's get the Blackening off our chest. So reconfigure your notes, Lisa, because you're going to start with the Flash.
Oh, sorry. I guess it's my fault.
No, it's fine. I can read down and then read up, and it's not a big deal. I'm a professional.
Here we go. 7 friends go away for the weekend only to find themselves trapped in a cabin with a killer who has a vendetta. They must pit their street smarts, and I hate that. They must pitch their street smarts and knowledge of horror movies against the murderer to stay alive. Why do they have to have street smarts? Why can't they just have regular smarts? Like
because
A white dude
because
wrote
in regular movies they don't have street smarts. They just dodos. So
yeah, they don't have any sort of smarts.
yeah.
But that is what the Google has said about the movie The Blackening, currently now in theaters. For those of you who are joining us first time, and those of you who are joining us, if you don't know, now you know. For everything that we do, we give it a 1-sentence review. And since this is The Blackening, Jason, go ahead and give it the 1-sentence review.
Man, you kind of caught me off guard there being the first one to go. All right, my 1-sentence review is for The Blackening is this wasn't black enough for me.
Damn.
Take that.
In your face. Lisa, hit us with your 1-sentence review for The Blackening.
My 1-sentence review for The Blackening is wear a seatbelt because you're going to be flying out of your seat laughing.
And my 1-sentence review for The Blackening is the blackest comedy since Black Dynamite.
Ooh. That's high praise.
Which
there.
is
That
probably
really
just a factual statement.
Yeah, because it probably hasn't been one since then.
I say girls should, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, you're correct.
So
I guess I'll start.
We have our pros. Let's go with our pros, Jason.
All right. Yes, my pros for The Blackening is pro number 1, move over vampire in Brooklyn. A new king is here. I agree with you. Like, I couldn't think of any black horror specific comedies that, except for the Vampire in Brooklyn, is the first thing that came to my mind. And that is a terrible, terrible movie. Eddie Murphy would tell you it's a terrible movie. John Witherspoon would tell you it's a terrible movie. Kadeem Hardison maybe say it wasn't because it's probably the only movie he's ever been in, but it was a terrible, terrible movie. And I feel like this could supplant that because this is a lot better than that. But also, it is very rare that we get black horror comedy. The closest I could think of to maybe is Tales from the Crypt. I mean, not Tales from the Crypt, but Tales in the Hood. Yeah. But that still was played more horror specific than actually comedy. So
still have nightmares about that movie. But
yeah,
rebuttal,
so that's my first.
Kadeem Hardison was in The Sixth Man.
Once again, Kadeem Hardison doesn't remember he was in The Sixth Man. So my second pro is when the jokes hit, it's like a Mike Tyson left hook. When the jokes get there, they land completely great. Like, it's some moments in there, like Lisa said, you will be laughing, like you'll be on the crown, like if you feel like you're watching Def Comedy Jam. But then we'll go to my cons. But yeah, when they hit, it's really, really good. It's really, really intelligent, really smart, and I appreciate that for our comedy. And then
addendum.
What's that? Oh, addendum. Okay, go for it.
Yeah, because I have this as a riot that the police can't stop, a laugh riot, because it's that funny.
Don't test the faith, Jason. Don't test the faith.
Please, like, whoa, we can try to stop it.
right. Like,
why you having actual joy? Get out of here.
And then my next pro is all black everything. The thing I did really, really enjoy about this movie, I mean, besides the pretty much all black cast, is that they took the time to actually do, I hate to say, the black tropish stereotypes, but also give it a nice little twist, like, oh, the thug, oh yeah, blah, 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 you probably have a gun on you, blah, blah, but these all were college educated black people. Mm-hmm. Like, so it was very interesting to see that moment with the twist. The player black dude that, all of a sudden decides he wants to be different. It's just a lot of little moments that I thought was going to fall into the stereotypical BS that they actually gave them something more. They made them more than just the typical, oh, that's the thug, that's the nerd, that's the loud friend that says whatever's on her mind. There's the mixed chick. Like, they did all of that, but they gave them more urgency, which I thought was very, very important. Looks like you want to do an addendum, Jason. Are you good?
I would do that because I would just say, that black isn't a monolith is what I would say, and they do give you a wide selection of different black folk. Some more successful than others. We can get to our cons, but yeah, it's not like they just gave us, as you said, the thug who's just a thug. He's a thug that's married to a white woman who's trying to reform his thuggish ways. You have the biracial light-skinned chick, and you also have the darker skin, and they're just both are able to. Everybody has a moment to shine, pretty much in this, and it's just so hard to see because normally, in most movies, you would have one or the other, and you don't get the in betweens, and it's great to see the whole spectrum there for once, for the most part.
Well, and it seemed like they actually all had backstories. Like there was no questioning, like guessing why someone you didn't have to guess why the best friend hated the guy. Like so it helped just like, because he hurt my friend, and like all those things. So I think that the characters, especially for it not being a super long movie, they did a good job giving us
fleshing everybody out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that is all I have for my pros.
Lisa, would you like to hit us with your pros?
Okay. Number 1, drugs give you superpowers.
Do drugs, kids. This is what this is.
Like every time it's like, oh, that's the Molly. Oh, that's the Adderall. It was just so funny. It was so funny, and it was just like the perfect amount. I don't know. I loved it. At whenever I don't even remember anybody's names. I'm terrible with names, but the girl wearing the Rosa Parks Lisa sweatshirt. Is that Lisa?
No, the Lisa was the darker skin chick. The one that was wearing the Rosa Parks sweatshirt was Allison.
Okay. When she like comes out of nowhere and she's just like Krav Maga that guy and just like fucking like, oh god, it was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Number 2, if you want to be somebody, if you want to go somewhere, you better wake up and pay attention.
Yes, that
was. I'm sorry.
I probably missed like the next 3 minutes of dialogue after they said that, like, because I was just laughing so hard. But I loved all those, little, they would just like stick things in, very like nods to other, very pop culture-y things. And it's one of those, if you know, you know. And oh my God. And I loved it. I loved it. And then my third one was what you guys were saying. It's just ain't nobody safe from the jokes. So that's yeah. So that's my pros.
All right, moving right along to my pros. I already said a laugh right. The tops can't stop. A colorful cast of crazy characters is my next pro. I guess this goes along with everybody just being so great in their various roles. They all have different backstories, and that everything's fleshed out. Geez, all you guys pretty much covered all mine. Like I have one that says terrific taker of tropes. So there's definitely a lot of jokes in here about the various tropes about each sort of character. They make fun of the biracial girl for a second, but then they always like kind of flip it, because the biracial girl is, man, that's something my daddy would do. Yeah. Or when they're like, man, like Namdi, the black player guy, is like, oh, you're the blackest you see from Africa. It's like, no, I'm from Oakland. It's like, you ain't making it any better.
Yeah.
Right.
So they did play into the show, so they also just turned them in just a way so they just weren't stereotypes of what each character could be. There was actually more there, and that was really, really heartening and warming for me to see. And also, it was just very, very funny. Everything else, y'all pretty much covered it. Also, just go ahead and say the peak performances. That's another pro. Everybody in this, I wouldn't say anybody was bad at what their role was. I think everybody did a very, very excellent job with the material they were given. Obviously, they seemed like they were having fun doing this. And that really showed on the screen that they're having a good time making this movie, which is always great. And it's not at any point where I was like, man, I wish they had, got a different actor doing this, because they can't just deliver their lines right. It's like, no, they're all really, really good. So those are all my pros that I have right now. So let's move on.
Oh, can I say something? I just
no,
read
you can't say something.
I saw the comments and I completely forgot that I did want to talk about this. The mental communication.
Oh my goodness.
That shit was so funny. That was so funny. Like, and then at the end, he's like, Did you hear everything you just said?
Yeah.
Yes, I
did. Like he's still black. Like,
yeah. I kind of hated that funny. Because
I loved it.
That was a secret, and they shouldn't put that on the screen. Like,
yeah.
Now all the white
they've
people
been telling us too much.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Kenya Burris has been doing it for years.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the cons.
Cons!
Yes. My first con is an low-hanging black joke fruit. Sometimes I felt like in this movie it was just like the obvious joke of being black was the obvious joke of being black, which kind of bothered me because I feel like we're in I call the post Get Out era of these kind of movies, and you got to kind of have a little bit more originality, and you had all the opportunities to be a little bit more original, and I think sometimes they just were like, oh, this is an easy layup and a win. Also, I wonder how this plays for people who are not black. Like Lisa has enough black and people around her that she can catch a lot of references that I feel like a lot of white people would walk into this and be like, I have no idea why they think this is funny.
Wake up!
Like I'm interested. I'm interested in like show my wife this movie because my wife doesn't know as much about black culture or black movies and stuff. So I'm interested to see how this plays in her view because I feel like. But I thought sometimes we could have done a lot better with some of the jokes there. My second con is yes, of course, sellouts are sellouts. We got to stop doing this trope in Blackness. Like we got to stop making the black person who doesn't do quote unquote the monolithic black thing not being black enough or not being cool enough or not being a person that is in the interest of the culture. And I say this as more like less because you got black people out here that still deal with the same stuff we deal with, no matter if they're in the hip hop or in the country or in the punk rock or whatever. They dress like they're grunge or dress like like in hip hop or dress in a regular button up t-shirt. They still deal with the same thing. And so I've always said, I know Jason doesn't always agree with this, but to me, if you black, you're invited to the cookout. I don't care if you're Candace Owens. I don't care if you're Uncle Ruckus. We may have to section you off and give you the crazy uncle section where like the uncle that you don't leave alone with the kids. We may have to put you over there, but you invited to the cookout because regardless of how you don't want to be us, you still got to deal with being us. So
only black person I would not invite to the cookout is I can't even think of one. No. Yep. No, I'll take that back. Either way, I got an addendum. So when you're done,
that was I'm done with that part. You have an addendum of you.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna spoil this a little bit, but I also have a con for the vanilla villain here, because and this also goes to your low hanging fruit here because this is something that occurs a lot, and we talked about this before the show started, and the villain is a person. And this is going to go ahead and spoil it now for this comedy. It's Clifton, the white black guy. And for me, I kind of wish they'd had separated that character to like two different characters. Because firstly, like I felt sorry for Clifton because Clifton tried to find a space for that he was comfortable in. Because he says, I'm from Vermont. I didn't know how to play spades. And I tried to learn from you guys. He actively went into a black space so he could feel comfortable. And these people made him feel uncomfortable. Yes.
What do you mean these people?
These people, black people. That's what I meant. Black people made him feel uncomfortable. Black folk made him feel uncomfortable. And knowing in the Candace Owens of the world, the people who still try to prop up white supremacy would never have done that, right? They would never have sought out other black peers in order to finally be comfortable. And I feel like that was a missed opportunity there. And it was also like the lowest hanging fruit because it's always the nerdy white black guy who's the villain. And I hate that because I'm the nerdy black guy.
Right. I almost thought like that because whenever I first saw Clifton, I was like, oh, he's the killer, And then whenever they got the park ranger, and I was just like, oh, well, maybe they're going to change it. Like, maybe they're actually going to change it. It's not going to be Clifton. And then ultimately, of course, it was Clifton. But they had an opportunity, or they could have just had Clifton be a completely different character when you found out that he was him. And it was just like someone that they didn't know at all. And they were just pretending like they knew him, like, I don't know. There were opportunities. It was just, super obvious it was him. It was no big twist. And so But we did get that funny line at the end that didn't go well for him. about peeing my pants. I laughed so hard.
But Blackening 2 do better.
Yes. And then my last con is Tony. And not because it feels good, but I feel like the tone was all over the place. I do feel like the tone was kind of wild, like especially from the opening, like the cold opening. I thought was going to be the whole tone of the whole movie. That cold opening was probably the tone I wanted, but the tone kind of flips 3-4 times in this movie because it's trying to balance that, which is very hard to do. It's very hard to write a comedy in general.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy to write a horror movie. We know that. But writing a horror comedy is yes, exactly. But writing a horror comedy, it is a balance you got to kind of sit on to make it work, because you got to actually believe that the things that are trying to kill people is actually a threat while still making it enjoyable. I mean, probably the best one ever to do it is Evil Dead 2. The point is that I felt like they tried to lean, like one point they're leaning fully into horror, the one point they're leaning fully into comedy, and you can literally almost see like the moments where they're like, oh, this is going to be an improv session. And okay, well, let's get a little horror in here. Like the horror, not even horror in the fact of scares, but horror as in the sense of, here are the tropes. Yeah, Shaun of the Dead is another one that did it beautifully too. But here are the tropes of a horror movie. So we got to do things like get in the woods. We got to do things like hide and like. But the tropes
split up.
Yeah, they weren't useful in making any more suspense. It just was there to just check the box of what horror movies do. So I do feel like like I said, the tone just never set right for me, because as soon as I was getting comfortable with just it being a comedy, it tried to get horror specific. That didn't work for me. And I think even when me and Jason talked before, I feel like Scary Movie is a better version. If you're going to do the horror movie comedy thing, Scary Movie works because it goes right into just being a comedy with some horror spoof elements. With this one, I felt was trying to be a horror movie while still being a comedy. It just, I don't know, it just felt very uneven to me. And so, yeah, that's it. That's my last
slight rebuttal to that. The reason why Scary Movie is so good is because it has one of the greatest comedy dynasties around that's ever existed behind that movie, and that's the Wayne and the Nims.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
It's gonna be nearly impossible.
Yeah, that's a high bar to get over.
So amazing. Yeah.
Well, no, but I'm saying, I think this movie
stole it from him.
But I was saying that I think this movie should have done that. It should just lean into, like, Scary Movie is just straight comedy. It isn't really a horror movie. It doesn't have any horror elements in it. Yeah, even the deaths in Scary Movie are comical. Like, I feel like they should have leaned completely into that, where I felt like they were still trying to, oh no, we're still a horror movie at heart, but I don't know. That's the reason why I feel like I can't, because I felt like it's seesaw, and I feel like that's where I couldn't really settle into any kind of groove with it. But anyway, all right.
Lisa, what are your cons? I want to do that.
Okay. So I just have one con. That's all we get from Jay Farrow. That's it. Like
he said it in the movie, they couldn't afford him.
I know. And here's my thing. They said they couldn't afford him. Well, I mean, maybe I don't know, but what else is he doing? Like his price tag is so high. I don't know. Also, all we get from him is him doing freaking impressions. So it's just like him being him. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I was very disappointed with that whole thing. The cold opening, which I think it was supposed to. It felt like Scream, and it was supposed to, because they even make a nod at it and everything. But I was hoping that it would have been a little bit more. I don't know. I think I hate that all of them weren't together at least one time on screen.
I agree with you on that.
So I think that's what it really boils down to. But so that's it.
I agree. I 100% agree with you on that. Jay Farrow was wasted, but also they couldn't afford him. He said it. He can't afford my Blackness. I only have one additional con as well.
Con.
Come on, guys! I need some enthusiasm. And my last con is ninjas be tripping. They say the N-word in this movie a lot. And it's almost like a Quentin Tarantino movie.
I was about to say that.
And I feel, and don't get me wrong, personally, I have no qualms about Black people using the N-word whatsoever. It's our word. I don't give a shit. But I feel like since it is a movie and anybody can see this, this will be the thing that happened to like kind of like Dave Chappelle, where people will, or especially our cotton-colored compatriots, will not understand what's going on and they want to be a part of the joke and not realize they can't be. And I can imagine a place where if you go to a college campus the next year or so, there's going to be a lot of Tylers and Chads out there quoting this movie with impunity and not understanding that some things ain't for you to say.
Yeah.
And it's not really the movie's fault per se, but it kind of is, because you are putting, and it's hilarious because like a lot of the times that word was a great punctuation to the joke, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in that same token, there will be people who just don't get it, and I feel like you could be more cognizant of that in this movie and realizing that you're not making this movie just for Black people, right?
Clearly,
you are making this movie
not.
for Black people, but it's not going to be just for Black people.
Yeah.
There are going to be people who are going to see this, and as soon as this hits streaming, it's game over, and it's already hard enough to keep people from getting from putting that word in their mouth, because of hip hop and what have you. So I feel like
clearly hip hop's fault.
It's clearly not hip hop's fault. It's the people. It's colonizers going to colonize, and this is just another thing that they're going to colonize. And I wish that they were more aware of that in this movie. But even though it was funny as hell, that's my con. Don't be saying anything.
I do want to address Anthony's comment because I think it's poignant to a degree. Anthony says when Coming to America came out, him and his dad and his brother got more of the jokes than Black people. So funny is funny in the end. One, Coming to America was directed by and co-written by a white guy. Two, there's literally jokes in this movie that if you don't have some familiarity with the culture, you won't get. Like Lisa made the whole, like if you want to be somebody, you're gonna go. That's the line from Sister Act 2. If you've never seen Sister Act 2, which is a staple in most Black families,
I've seen
Sister Act 1 and Sister Act 2. Because that's back when Whoopi Goldberg was like one of the biggest stars, let alone the biggest Black stars. So we all rep for her. You're not going to get that joke. It's little stuff in there like that where.
Or sing the second verse of the Black National Anthem. I wrote the second verse of it, but I can't sing it.
and I was saying that's what I think. Sometimes it was low-hanging Black fruit. It was like, what it's like, and this is the perfect example for it. And Anthony, you probably can understand this one too, because I think you get it. You say, I get what you're saying. But you ever been to a comedy show and it's a Black comedian up there, and I say he does like the Black comedian set, and the Black comedian set to me is like, oh, them white people be tripping. White people be like, who do you like?
Put mayonnaise on there. Right.
It's like I call it the Black comedian set. Like it's like, yeah, Black people and white people gonna laugh at it, but it's low hanging fruit, bro. Like, yeah, thank you. What is this? 1989? Like, yes, we get it. Like, hey, I'll be out here and white people be like, oh, look at that man. I'd be like, what are you talking about, bro? Like,
they be in airplanes flying in the sky, and we like, white people can't fly.
Right, or they be like, yeah, that's some white people shit. Like, and it's like, okay, I get it. Do I still laugh? Because I'm in a comedy show, so I'm there to enjoy myself, not to be like an asshole to the comedian. But it is like, it is sometimes like I feel like that it delve into that moment where it's like, hey, Black people, you get this reference? Hey, Black people, you know what you like about this? And it's like, yeah, I get it. I was just waiting for the Blackening to be like, hey, it's a Black man sitting in front of this theater. Hey, white man, how you doing, white man? Like, expect it to be one of those moments. Like, watch the Nutty Professor if you don't know what to call a Black set. Dave Chappelle does it in Nutty Professor.
Especially the very, like, one of the very first jokes when they were like, cabin in the woods. We don't do that. It's like, yeah, the fuck y'all don't. Like, Black people are everywhere. We get cabins in the woods just as quickly as anybody. Because especially down here in the South, because You can go out in the middle of Podunk, nowhere in Georgia, and find 16,000 black people just standing there looking at you like, "What you doing here?"
Right.
So like, it's like, come on now, like. Black people don't get cabin in the woods. Y'all here? So yes, they do.
Yeah, obviously.
It was a nice ass It's a nice ass house.
Cabin. Like,
yeah.
If it wasn't for the murders, it would be awesome.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. That part there. Yeah, I don't know. That's why I thought about the joke sometimes. Again, and I'll admit it was probably my expectation because I wanted just more. And it's not the movie's fault. That's my fault. But anyway, all right. That was it. Is it rundown time?
Time for the Rock's rundown. Copyright, trademark, not affiliated with anybody. Dwayne Johnson. Or it is. We don't know. The Rock. Talking shit about you earlier. You're not Reggie Miller to the Arnold Schwarzenegger's Michael Jordan. You are, I would say, Scottie Pippen. Ha! I know another one.
There you go. You do know another one.
Good job.
Actually, I know most of the 95 Bulls. That's all I know is the 95 Bulls.
Okay.
And the Shaquille O'Neal.
All right. Yes. All right. The Rock's Rundowns.
The Rock's Rundown.
Give our rating. Yeah. Yes. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Now she has it.
All right, my first pro is Move Over Vampire in Brooklyn. A new king is here. My second pro is when the jokes hit, it's like a Mike Tyson left hook. My third pro is all black everything. All right, my cons are
cons.
There you go. My first con is low hanging black joke fruit. My second con is yes, of course, sellouts are sellouts. And my third con is Tony.
I love Tony. I used to love them.
I know, great, great man.
Yeah.
So I would say let me say, even though I said all the stuff I said, I did thoroughly enjoy this movie, and I think some of it is because we don't see enough movies like this that look like me, that feel like me, that feel like sometimes some of the jokes was something that me and some of my friends in DC would sit around and write in our living room. With that being said, I'm giving this a 3.5 out of 5. I was here for it. Oh, I know. I was gonna get hated on for saying it. I was here for it, but I just wish it would have been just straight went into the comedy realm and left some of the hard stuff alone. But I understand why they did what they did, and it was a good choice. That was just my personal feelings. But I'm here for it, man. I will enjoy taking my wife to see this when we get some time away from the kids, and maybe she'll be just as excited about it as when I made her go see Get Out. So we'll see.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jason officially hates black people. I don't know.
Him and Candace Owens got to get this message. Women, children, black people. So I mean, finally, you guys are catching on. Thank you. Yo. I can't stand
it. With that Candace Owens. What's the other dude?
Larry Elder, Thomas Sowell. Yeah. We can go through the list.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
A whole bunch of dudes. Colin Noir, all them guys. Yeah, Jason's on the list. Uncle Ruckus right here, everybody.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Go ahead,
that Mount Rushmore, baby.
Okay. My rundown is
the Rock's rundown.
The Rock's rundown. Yes. For my pros, number 1 is drugs give you superpowers. Number 2, if you want to be somebody, if you want to go somewhere, you better wake up and pay attention. Number 3 is ain't nobody safe from the jokes. I also want to give an honorable mention to that costume change for the firefighters. My cons, I only have one. Does Jay Farrell only do impressions and that's all we get from him?
Yeah.
I enjoyed this movie a lot. I think it's a 4.5 out of 5.
Also, Lisa hates black people too. Lisa. It's crazy.
Juneteenth coming through. Also, that firefighter joke, we don't ruin it for anybody. That probably was the greatest joke of the whole movie.
It was amazing.
I always shot that on a different day.
Amazing.
That was perfect. So perfect.
I want to watch the movie again just for that.
It's like what we do.
All right, Jason, it's your turn.
For the Rock's rundown of the Blackening. My first pro is a riot that the police can't stop. A laugh riot. Number 2 is colorful cast of crazy characters. I'm doing alliteration today, guys. Number 3, terrific takeover of tropes. Number 4, peak performances. And number 5, Blackness ain't a monolith, a wide segment of Black people. And for my cons. Number 1 is vanilla villain. And number 2, ninjas be tripping, overuse of the N-word. Because I actually like Black people in the show. My score is 5 out of 5. I don't know what y'all are doing over here. Just this craziness. This is the funniest thing I've seen in.
I'm gonna show that Lisa loves Black people. We're gonna do this then.
I can't believe y'all coming on here on Beyonce's internet and Juneteenth weekend, not giving us a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I'll admit, I knew you were going to go that route, and I was like, you know what? I just got to be like Clifford. I got to vote for Trump 2 times.
All right, now let's review this other movie.
Don't be like that.
I actually like this movie. It's terrible. Worlds collide when the Flash uses his superpowers to travel back in time to change the events of the past. However, when his attempt to save his family inadvertently alters the future, he becomes trapped in a reality in which General Zod has returned, threatening annihilation. With no other superheroes to turn to, the Flash looks to coax a very different Batman out of retirement and rescue an imprisoned Kryptonian, albeit not the one he's looking for. That is what the Googles said about The Flash, the current DC Universe movie that is in the theaters right now. Now, if you don't know, now you know. For everything that we do, we give it a 1-sentence review. Since it's not Black, Lisa, go ahead. Give us your 1-sentence review for The Flash.
My 1-sentence review for The Flash is, it's not a bad movie.
Says a lot for DC.
Yeah. Jason, go ahead and give us your 1-sentence review for The Flash.
Yes, my 1-sentence review is, in The Flash, DC has righted the ship. Kinda.
And my 1-sentence review for The Flash is, run away from that terrible CGI and that absolute villain, Ezra Miller.
Yes. Who would like to start today?
I'll go first because this movie, and Lisa's gonna hates this analogy, but it's like I just ate a whole bunch of cotton candy. Like, I was happy to eat this cotton candy. I was like, I love cotton candy. Yum, 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 yum. But then, like, the next day, it was all just like my stomach was bubbling, my guts was, and I was like, I don't know, I shouldn't eat that. But let's go to my pros. Here we go.
Pro.
First one up is I'm Batman. Michael Keaton. He's a national treasure. I loved every scene he was in. I loved all his cheesy one-liners that was nostalgia bait. I wish he was in more of the movie. I wish this movie was about him. Honestly, he's the best part of this movie. So that's my first pro.
Addendum.
Okay.
Yeah, because I had the same pro, but mine was, how much do you weigh? So
I love that part. Yes.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's obviously fan service. Like, let's call it what it is. I think all of the Michael Keaton was 100% fan service, but they did it in a really good way, like, to where it didn't, like, we're intelligent. We watch this shit for,
not a living, but
and so, but
anyway.
so we are aware of what we're seeing. So it was 100% fan service, but they did it great. Michael Keaton with the flip flops, basically like a version of the Dude. Like, here for it. You know, like, yeah. So I agree. Continue.
Or just the simple fact that he actually did the thing that no other Batman has ever been able to do.
Stop
He
Batman.
cleaned up Gotham.
Yeah, for real. There's no more crime. Yeah.
Every other Batman's like, I just quit. My second pro. This villain actually plays a good hero. I liked regular Barry. I thought Ezra Miller was good as regular Barry. That's the end of my statement.
Okay. Not young Barry. You're talking about, are you just talking about Barry in general?
Older Barry. Young Barry.
Okay.
Made my booty itch.
Okay.
I second that. I think mine I had is two sides to an annoying coin makes good entertainment. I'm not gonna do this. Oh, we gotta say can't say nice thing. Fuck that. Ezra Miller does a fucking phenomenal job in this movie. He's all the things that you want to call him. That could be true too, and the same could be true that he does a fucking awesome job in this movie. I'm not gonna pull no punches on it. Like, he makes this movie. I know you feel Keaton does. Ezra Miller makes this movie great. And he's fun to watch, and it's fun to understand that he's playing two roles. And it's even just more exciting to realize that at least that CGI was done properly, because he's in a lot of scenes with himself, and it looks perfectly normal.
It looks seamless.
Yeah. And so he does a great job in this one, and I will agree. My life is good, Barry. Oh, I wanted to punch that kid so many times. But, yeah. But we have to realize that the Barry that we do like, he did all the stupid shit that Barry did too. That's why he knew it was going to happen, because he did it too. So, yes, again, I'm here for, but I'm with you. Yes, you got to look at the art and look past the guy sometimes.
Absolute villain in person, though. And my last pro, I feel the need for speed. The actual times when the Flash does let me back it up. The last part of the movie when the Flashers are doing the Flash thing and they're going around beating up the Kryptonians, that was pretty cool. It was a really cool action scene, I thought. They do some really fun stuff with the Flash powers. Like Barry creates a whirlwind. I honestly wish they'd done more of that kind of stuff in the movie, but they didn't. But that was really cool. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun seeing the various ways that the Flash can actually beat down on Kryptonians. And in that part, when he was interacting with past Barry, I thought was pretty funny, as he was like, okay, let's try this again, and all this other good stuff. That last little sequence was actually quite entertaining. And that's the end of my pros.
Nice. Good job.
Lisa, do you want a bat finisher and let me go second?
Yeah,
okay.
That's fine.
All right, go ahead. Alex says that Molly Shannon phoned is in this movie from Alaska. Esmeralda did a very good job, but the writing once again let us down. I'm not gonna go that far and say the writing let it down. I think that's very hyperbolic and very simplistic to say, because it's a comic book movie, for God's sakes.
What
my pros. yeah, like it's a comic book movie with time travel. My pros actually kind of reverse of yours. Ben Affleck, you will be missed. Ben Affleck's still the best Batman. I'm sorry.
Oh, hands down.
Even this one proved it, because I mean, he shared the same movie with Michael Keaton, and all the gravitas Ben Affleck had in the momentary scenes that he was in early on. Even just Batman being Batman in this was so freaking awesome. And I know a lot of people bad flack on. I don't care. He does the thing that we feel about Robert Downey Jr. and Tony Stark. Ben Affleck pretty much is Bruce Wayne in real life.
Yes, I agree.
So when he plays Bruce Wayne, it's very freaking believable. Just like when Robert Downey Jr. played Tony Stark, it was very freaking believable, because they're the same people. And
here's the funny thing about Ben Affleck too, because he's like the most plainest white guy ever. Bruce Wayne would be the most plainest white guy ever, but he's always with the baddest chicks that he can find. What are you doing? You must be rich.
Yeah.
Right. So
keep going, Jason. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. That's it. My second pro, I laughed enough to enjoy the heartfelt moments. This probably has all the heart that Wonder Woman 1984 was trying to give us, but could not hit the mark. Yeah, I mean that whole closing scene in the supermarket is phenomenal. And again, I know that's low hanging sympathetic fruit, but even the scenes early on when he was a child with his mother, and like those were very. They set up all the stuff so when you laughed and enjoyed it, it was enjoyable. So when it was more serious, it felt more earned. It felt more like this is where the movie was going to really push the plot along. And so it's just a lot of heartfelt moments in there. And as I think back, like I can't think of any DC movie recently that had as much heart as this one did. Because I mean, what's up?
It made me cry.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, like I mean, the only heartfelt moment I can think about is Kevin Carson telling Clark he should let some kids die. So other than that, DC really hasn't done a lot with these moments, and I felt like in this movie he finally did. They did a lot with this, and I thought that was. I thought it was a good sign. I mean, for DC, which means because naturally this movie means nothing after a while.
It means nothing. Period.
Yeah. The mom scene in Shazam, yeah, but that was Mom's mom being a dirtbag. It wasn't really like this was heartfelt. Like you felt like you wanted Barry to have this for himself. Shazam was more just like, yeah, when he meets her and she realizes that she didn't give a fuck about him, he should just bounce. Like it did suck. It was emotional, but I don't call it heartfelt. I call that like it was heartbreaking. Let me say that. My other pro is the pacing is flash worthy. I didn't realize this movie. I realized how long the movie was when I came into it, but watching it, it never felt long to me. It felt like the movie went along at a very steady pace, which is something new for DC because they also put out a 4-hour movie on streaming. And then my last one is The Flash earned the right to be a hero. It is rare that we get a movie where we feel like the hero earns the right to be the lead character. And even the fact that we start off the movie with him still being like the fetch it boy to the other heroes. I feel like by the end of this movie, like Barry has earned the right to be like a vital, legitimate, like member of the league. Now they don't really show that, but it feels like he's gone through an evolution in his character that he feels more confident, more capable, and more able to do the job rather than just being like, hey, go rescue that, or hey, stop that, or oh hell. I mean, we first saw him and his thing was like, I really haven't fought anybody, I just push him. Like going from that to this, I felt like his evolution actually was earned in here. And it felt good to finally see DC put something to good on paper that actually seemed like it connected and gave characters urgency and development. And yeah, it was odd. I was shocked too. I'm like, huh. Barry, like especially that final scene when they're fighting the Kryptonians, and it's like, oh, this Barry can rock shit. Like, yeah, why was he doing this before? But it was because they were never allowing him to do this before because he was the fetch it. So
let's also be honest. Between the Flash and Superman, they should be able to take care of pretty much anything. 100%. Yeah, 100%. Like that's game over right there. Flash and Superman, like y'all sit down. Me and Flash got this. We don't need y'all today. Especially you, Batman and Green Arrow. Why don't even know why you showed up?
Right.
Like, we need who called that dude. They should be able to take over everything.
Alex said if there were this many Kryptonians in Man of Steel, Clark would have been toast. Well, too bad that was a different reality, Alex. So
yeah, and also.
Lazy writing of time travel, Alex.
Is that in your pros, Jason?
Yep, that's it.
Lisa.
I don't think that there's any pros left for me, except for, so I already said, how much do you weigh? And then I had, I'm sorry, mama. And then the only other thing I have is Kara.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I'm in love.
I could have watched an entire Supergirl movie. Like, honestly.
Why didn't they make that? I don't know.
Yeah, like, and I'm gonna be hard. Yeah, clearly, I'm gonna be hard on the Flash. Like, I'm gonna be hard on this movie because I am what you would call a Flash super fan. So there are a lot of things that just really pissed me off, but she was a shining star in this movie. We don't even get her until I think the second act.
No, it's like the end of the
second act. Yeah. And I'm just like, where's she been this whole time? You know, and she was just
why hasn't she made
when she
me
came
her
back for
manservant?
Barry and was just like, I got you, and I was just like, oh my god, I love this movie. So yeah, the thing is yeah, I mean, you guys covered everything else pretty much that I liked about it. I mean, there are other things that I liked, but that was my biggest pro was Kara. It makes me sad that it literally doesn't matter, and we're probably not going to get her again because, I mean, who knows? We might, but yeah. So
they can do their picking and choosing. I hope they
Sure.
give her more work because she was in the brief moments that she was in this movie, she was awesome. And I think James Gunn, giving that his track record with things like this, he could easily make her into the next big thing, especially if they're going to wait a while for to do Superman. So
yeah,
and she's a babe. So if I want to just be a gross man for a second,
I'm fine with it. I'll allow it.
You've seen the cartoon where the wolf, stamps his foot and he howls and he makes his face, and then his chest, and he goes, "Ooga!" I'm doing all that stuff, just in reality.
all right,
we're gonna go to.
This is gonna be interesting here.
Yeah,
time to go to our
cons.
Okay. My first con up is going to. Can we be consistent? The special effects of this, they are all over the place. There's some stuff that looks great and phenomenal, and there's some stuff that looks like a PlayStation era. I hate when people say that, but it does. Looks like a PlayStation era video game. And the director, Andy Muschiani, came out and said, "Oh, this was done on purpose." Well, you should fire that guy because if that was on purpose, y'all definitely need to go back. That dude need to go back to art school because that was purposeful. Stop him.
It was like the mustache. It was like the Superman mustache all over again.
And there's actually a reason for why, and especially in the latter Marvel movies and this movie, why some of these effects look so terrible is because the big studios will go to an FX company and be like, "Hey, we have 300 shots special effects that are needed," and they get the lowest bidder on shots. And from shot to shot, it might be something super easy, like removing wires, which would be like we could take somebody like less than a couple hours to do for a shot, or something super difficult like a whole CGI suite. And they only got like 4 weeks to do it in. And they can't say no because they want more work in the future. So if you ever see a person who works in FX, give them a hug because they're overworked and underpaid. So there. Also why I don't do it. My next con is some of these member berries taste bad. I liked the Batman stuff. At the end when they were just throwing in people who have been dead and who don't have any way of authorizing their image to be used, and especially when it's like, does this have to do with the Flash at all? I was like, no. Why are there 7 different Supermans? This is a Flash movie. It's like
the same thing. The same thing.
Yeah.
Let me second that for a second. Just and again, the easy thing is they had a Flash TV series before the one with Gus and the OG one in the 90s. How come we got no footage from that? The one thing that would have been the easiest thing to put in. No footage for that. I thought, it was,
especially since Ezra Miller made a cameo in the new Grant Gustin Flash series.
That's how he gets his name.
It would have made sense to just. I don't understand why they didn't do that. And I was hoping, because again, this is my jam. I was hoping that we were going to see Green Lantern. I wasn't wanting all the Supermans because we have plenty of Superman movies.
Yeah,
and
apparently.
So I was whenever it was just real quick going to other planets, I was like, oh my god, are they going to do Green Lantern? Are they going to? And we just get. But I guess we did get to see Nicolas Cage.
Because there's so many Supermen the Superman movie that didn't get made.
Yeah,
made it into
two
movie.
different Superman movies that didn't get made got put into that versus stuff that actually is existing. Because that made I was just like, why is this a thing? This is gross. And this makes me very, very upset. My third con is doubting Thomas. No Thomas Wayne. As much as I love Michael Keaton as Batman, as much as I enjoyed this movie, this is not the Flashpoint paradox, and anything that would have done is way better than they would have done in this movie. I'm sorry, like the animated series one, it's badass. They had some brief, and here's the thing: this is probably the best DC movie that's come out in the last ever since the first Wonder Woman. And all I can think about is how much better this would be if this was actually the Flashpoint paradox.
And why addendum? Why didn't they just do that? They were halfway there, because whenever it came out, apparently they were doing Flashpoint paradox, and then it came out that they were, and they freaked out, so they changed it. It's just fucking do it. That's what everybody wants to see anyway. So,
because Jeffrey Dean Morgan's too expensive to show up. That's why.
They had Michael Keaton come in. They could have easily made Michael Keaton Thomas Wayne. They could have easily done it, and people would have still been. Or just use
Thomas Wayne to be Thomas Wayne.
Yeah,
because Thomas Wayne is in that universe as Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yeah,
there's just so many things that they could have done, and I don't know why they didn't.
We could have had
the whole
crossover with Dean Winchester and Thomas Wayne. That would have been a crossover. Everybody.
Hell yes, I would have been front row to see that shit.
It's we've already seen Zod try to take over Earth. What we haven't seen is, in live action anyway, is evil Aquaman trying to beat up evil Wonder Woman and then sinking half of Europe. I mean, that would be great. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe, especially since we have, who's in that? They could have cross-pollinated Shazam. Shazam's in Flashpoint. All them kids in Flashpoint. Paradox. They can put all them kids in there.
The Flashpoint paradox has so many, amazing things that you could have done. But and
I mean, sorry, Alex. Gal Gadot only shows up for one scene and she's done. That's what her where she does nothing. But Jason Momoa is barely down for
something about boys.
Yeah.
Yes.
But Jason Momoa would have been down because he needs money. He just got a divorce. And finally, my last con is, what was the point? At the end of this, it's just oh yeah, I shouldn't have done anything. And you're like, yeah, you shouldn't have done anything. We told you that in the beginning of this. And because the main villain is so closely tied to what Barry did, rather than him being something more akin to what was in the Flashpoint paradox, it doesn't seem like he really learns anything other than the fact that Bruce told him how to do this in the first place. And it's just at the end of this is oh yeah, I shouldn't have done anything in the first place. We shouldn't have had this movie. And it just seemed hollow and empty to me, that there was really no other stakes to this other than,
oh man, I got the addendumness. So partially correct. He technically does not learn anything.
Someone else learned something.
He still technically changes
it. Yeah.
So he just does a lower level in his mind of changing the past. So he technically didn't learn anything. He swapped a parent for a parent. That's all.
And he swapped Affleck for Clooney, which is not an upgrade.
Oh, I
don't know. George Clooney's a silver fox.
Yeah. I was going to try to leave some things for people to watch this.
No, this is not a spoiler for your review. Absolutely not.
I mean, I know that, but I mean that adds nothing to the plot. So that's why I would have just left it for people to see anyway. Clooney's Clooney. All right, is that all your?
That's all my cons.
Your cons.
Cons.
All right. Cons. All right, mine to jump right in there. Zod kneeled before this movie. Yeah, I'm with Alex on that. Don't bring in Michael Shannon to have him do nothing.
Nothing.
You bring him in. And at first, I thought these were like cutting room floor stuff of Man of Steel. And I'm like, oh, that's why he's doing it. Then I realized after the movie that no, like Michael Shannon actually showed up and was like in this movie, and it was worth nothing. Meant nothing, was worth nothing. So don't bring in Zod just to spice up your movie. Like you said, we could have done other stuff with that. Next con is way to waste some pretty faces. We talked about Supergirl. Yes, 100%. Also, like Iris West, like what a waste of her character. What a waste of bringing in her. Yeah, there's no reason for her to be in this movie except for if they were going to make other Flash movies. So maybe they bring her into the story. Maybe. I did think it was cute that when she's like, oh, I thought I saw you that one time. And he goes, oh, you didn't see me. Which, if you don't see the Snyder cut, that means nothing to you because it doesn't happen in Joss's League. So,
also, that was way to start a relationship by gaslighting a woman, by the way.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, he has good practice at that. So, but yeah, like, if you want women in this movie, it's none in here. They don't do anything in here. And my last con is, can we call it Easter omelets when it looks that bad? Because like those aren't Easter eggs. Easter eggs is like, oh, look at that thing in the back. This was like, hey guys, look at this. Hey guys, look at this. And I'm going to show it to you in the most terrible vision you could ever see it in. Like the Easter eggs in here are just not even Easter eggs. They're almost like they're trying to be part of the movie, and they should not be. Like, it is no reason that these other quote unquote universes are trying to collide. It makes no sense to me. I don't get it. I don't understand. Yeah, I do love the giant spider though, and I had to explain to my daughters the Nicolas Cage in the giant spider thing. I had to explain it to them, and unbeknownst to my daughters, I realized they've never seen Wild Wild West. That's a win.
That's
for
where
me
the giant spider gets to be used.
Yeah. Win for me as a parent. They haven't seen that trash, but I was explaining that all to them, but yeah. I mean, look, it's one thing to do Easter eggs because you're doing some fan service, which I think all of Michael Keaton is that itself. Mm-hmm. It's another thing that you're just like, this is your brain on drugs. That's what that felt like. So those are my cons, man.
Also, does this movie pass the Bechdel test?
I would think most superhero movies wouldn't. Well, that would just be my assumption.
Black Widow eventually talks to. Does she ever talk to Scarlet Witch? No. But no, I don't think this movie passed. I don't think any female character ever talks to another female character in this movie.
No, I can't imagine when it would.
It does because the chick in the office talks to Iris West when they meet outside of the office where that guy was having a press conference. And they go, oh, look, we didn't know Barry had friends. Like they
but it's about Barry. But it's about Barry, so it doesn't pass it.
It doesn't pass because you can't the Bechdel test has to be two female characters talk about something that isn't a man.
Yeah. So no, it doesn't.
And also, why they got the girl from Dairy Girls who's like distinctly Irish putting on a terrible American accent? Like,
I say this argument all the time. Like, this is America. We have accents everywhere. Quit making people have non-regional accents. Like, just they can still be American and have a fucking Irish accent.
I know an Irish guy. We all know an Irish guy.
Yeah, like I don't understand why they keep doing that. Like, just let people speak in their own accents. Like, I mean, I understand. When you have like Peter Parker, who's is he from Queens?
He's from Queens. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, okay, he's not British, but like. There's no reason why Tony Stark couldn't have a British accent, or you know what I mean? Like, but you know what I mean? Like just stop doing that. Stop it. Like, it annoys the shit out of me. Like, I work with I know so many Americans, and they all have different accents. Like, it doesn't. I'm sick and tired of hearing the non-regional accent. It pisses me off in movies. Pisses me off,
especially when they're in New Orleans.
I'm not as caught up in accents as you guys are. I don't even notice them because I don't pay attention.
Yeah, because you don't believe in the the fabric of our country being so widely dispersed, man. You are a white supremacist, sir.
Wow. Shots fired. Shots fired.
That just means I just hear people's voices and don't judge them. Then yes, bring the supremacy on me.
Okay,
All
right. For cons. I literally, like you guys said everything. I just have one left. So my one that y'all didn't get is, sorry, Barry, Quicksilver already did this twice.
With better graphics too.
Yeah, like I think that they were I think that that's the kind of the feel that they were trying to go for. That it felt very much like that, whiplash and just like holding his like, and they just didn't nail it. And then putting the baby in the microwave, like I don't know
would have killed the baby.
I don't know why that's like what they chose, especially because you have all these other babies who are just landing on the stretcher like just fine, like I don't understand the thought process in that. And then and I had, like I said, I have an issue with the Speed Force. The Flash is so fast, like he's so fast, and the movie doesn't show how fast he is, and they just don't do his speed justice. And they had the chance in the slow motion and they still couldn't do it. Like that wouldn't have even been a problem for him. This man can run on molecules. Like he would not have a problem with getting a couple babies safely on a stretcher. Like he just wouldn't, especially at this point in his career, because
he's figured out how to go.
He's figured out how to manipulate the Speed Force. He's figured out how to face. Like if he's figured out how to face, he's like apex Flash at this point. So, so that it was a missed opportunity.
And those babies.
I will rebut on this one that I would have rebutted because I don't think he's apex Flash in this. I think he's getting to that point. Because him phasing through walls doesn't make him apex at that point. That's an early trick that he learns to phase through. Two, the same argument I always have with Jaren about speedsters. You guys got to get off the speedster shit. Because the speedster is unrealistic, but it's an unrealistic thing that can never be quantified because technically nothing should bother a speedster who literally doesn't even use quote unquote the force of speed. He uses a separate force entity to manufacture his speed. So literally he can do anything and everything. Like Jason says, him and Superman should wrap up every issue. You don't even need Superman. Barry, and especially Wally, because Wally's technically faster, they literally can wrap up any single issue that ever arises because the rate of speed they can go, he outran death at one point in the books. It's nothing that he cannot do. So when I say this is that, right, like when I say this, I say, well, we got to get off the speed thing, is that you're basically asking us to never have a story. It's never a story, a thing that you can put a speedster in that he can't overcome. Like literally in a split a second. So by the logic you're saying, it will never be a Flash story. You can't name a Flash story
because they could have it in separate places. What I'm saying is in an isolated thing, like they have it. Absolutely, it would be difficult. This is a little bitty isolated thing that wouldn't be a problem. So
no, I'm just saying in general.
They make him OP, so show him OP, and they just never do.
If he's OP, he can never ever have an issue. It's the same thing that people say about Superman. Well, name one that a super speed couldn't solve. I challenge you to name one that really super speed and the Speed Force couldn't solve.
His love life.
Well, yeah,
he can solve that too.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't think a lady likes it with the super speed.
Hey, look, I'm pretty sure him getting on the control at a super speed rate will get her off. So again, problem solved. He can literally motor molecules to make it work. So again, super speed solved. Like it's nothing. That's what I'm trying to say is nothing. When I get me and Jaron was talking all the time, and I'm like, what you guys are asking to be done will literally make nothing ever to be able to affect him. Period. Like you can't do
Alex.
Like his tripwire, he's
Barry
not that
Allen's
bright,
one of the smartest
but he can see it,
and
he'll be able to see it a mile away and be able to literally walk over it. And then if he does trip it, he'll just go back in time and not trip it the next time. Like again, it's nothing that you could do to a speedster that it could affect them. So you got to make them like have these moments of unbelievable harshness or problems to quantify him being a thing. Especially, I'm talking about in the sense of the Flash, not of Quicksilver. Like regular speedsters that just their kinetic force, you can do things, but him using the Speed Force, it's not much you can do against that. Because the Speed Force is this ambiguous thing that can do everything. Like,
well, yeah, because it's a Speed Force. They should do the Tower of Babel. They should adapt that to live action.
Oh, that would be really fun.
I'm surprised they haven't done that yet.
But even that Batman plan really technically wouldn't work. But it's cute that Batman.
Well, some of them are silly because one of them was like, "Oh yeah, I'll just make Wonder Woman believe that she's fighting some dude." Like that was your
She'll exhaust herself as if she just wouldn't run away and refill and come back and fight
until she falls over. Or I'll just light Aquaman on fire. It's like damn, like you were. This is like late at night, Bruce Wayne thinking this stuff up. Like he's tired.
Yeah, he's exhausted. He likes water, fire. Problem solved. Next. The Speed, the Flash.
I will always. I love. There was a TikTok, and I'll always bring this up, where this guy was going through the Tower of Babel stuff, and then he get to Green Arrow, and he's like, "What about me, Batman?" And he's like, "Oh, hands. I'll have Nightwing come and beat your ass. I don't even worry about you. I'll get one of the Robins to come and deal with you."
Also, I thought it was weird in the movie, like the food thing, which I know was a tropish Flash thing, that just all of a sudden they forget completely about. They use the full to refuel, and they just like, oh,
they made such a big deal about it at the beginning,
just drop it,
and then just drop it. Yeah.
Which again, the Speed Force technically doesn't need to run off food, but neither here nor there. And they do it in the show sometimes too, which is stupid.
Like, I'm so hungry,
it's doable. Alex just said the characters are much more also overpowered. It's doable, but it's difficult. Yeah, I mean, again, I think the point I'm getting is that like it's nothing that you could do with Barry Allen's type of speed, because where he gets it is unconventional to just someone running fast. Is my point. I think I'm trying to express.
But that's also
because they pretty much
because they are the archetypal superheroes. They aren't these, real world whining pandy like, oh, I also got to pay taxes kind of guys. They're the guys who are like, I've got all the powers of the world, but also I'm morally trying to do the right thing. And that's something that I like about DC. Is that they are powerful, but they still try to be good people. With the exception of Batman, who's like, that person has a mental disability.
Yeah. Batman is, I am the
law. Also, I agree. Terrible idea to put a baby in the microwave. Very.
I did like the joke, even though it was completely ridiculous with the lasso of truth, where it's like, I should dress up as a bat. I should just use my wealth to solve poverty. I was like, he understands. He knows.
Oh, we know he knew. We know Batman knows the reality. He just likes to punch people. Let's call it what it is.
I like to punch.
We talk about it. He's a sick individual who beats up on sick individuals, like
with neural differences. He just beats up on autistic people. You telling me the Riddler is definitely autistic?
Rocky's rundown.
The Rock's rundown. Copyright. Trademark.
Is it
The Rock's rundown for The Flash. Number 1 for pros, I'm Batman. Number 2, this villain plays a good hero. And number 3, I feel the need for speed. My cons for The Flash. Cons! Can we be consistent? Especially with the FX. These member berries taste bad. Number 3 is doubting Thomas, no Thomas Wayne. And finally, what is the point? What was the point? I did enjoy this movie, but as I said, after a while, after thinking about it, I was like, so it slid down to a 3 out of 5 for me.
So it was at a 4 for you?
It was at a 4. And then it was probably even at a 4.5 before I started to use my brain.
Oh, well. Don't use that, Jason.
So just
don't ever use that. Yeah. Yes, I'll go my Rock's rundown My pros, yes, for Flash is two sides to an annoying coin makes good entertainment. My second pro is Ben Affleck, you will be missed. My third pro is I laughed enough to enjoy the heartfelt moments. My fourth pro is the pacing is Flash worthy. And my final pro is the Flash earned the right to be a hero. And now on to my cons.
Cons.
There you go. Zod kneeled before this movie. My second con is way to waste some pretty faces. My third con is can we call it Easter omelets when it looks that bad? I thoroughly enjoyed this. I had a great time with it, and I think sometimes where you watch a movie and who you watch it with determines a lot of times how you feel about a movie. So watching it with my kids and my Irish buddy that we don't talk about on this show made me enjoy this a little bit more. So I'm not dropping it as far as Jason. I will give this a 3 point. I'm gonna slide it up to a 4. I'm gonna go and keep it give it a 4. I enjoyed it, man. I thought it was fun. And I admit my expectations for DC are a lot lower. So for me to come out and enjoy something and not have to think too much into it because it has time travel, which I think it lends itself to not touching too much thought process. So yeah, 4 out of 5 for me.
In the ground for DC.
Yes. Good old
Lisa,
Prime Alley.
You're The Rock's rundown.
Okay. My pros are number 1, how much do you weigh? Number 2, Cara.
Ooh.
Number 3 is I'm sorry, mama. My cons are number 1 is Zod is the role that just keeps on giving. Number 2, who approved the look of the Speed Force? Number 3, sorry, Barry, Quicksilver already did this twice. And then an honorable mention to where the F is Reverse Flash.
Where the F is Reverse Flash, or Dr. Zoom, or any Flash villain for that matter.
Like Dark Barry, which is technically Salvatore, but anyway, neither here nor
there. But
No.
still, like you have this whole story of his mama getting, but you're not going to even mention the Reverse Flash. Like
they never solve the crime.
I was going to say that. I have a question written. My question written on here is, who killed his mom? Never addressed.
Well, it wasn't his dad. That's all he was caring about.
I don't know if he's sitting on the cutting room floor somewhere, or if they just forgot that everybody knows that the Reverse Flash killed Barry's mom. I don't know. It's fine. It's not fine, but yeah. I was with Jason. I was at a 4.5. And then whenever he said, "Oh, nothing happens," and Barry doesn't learn, I was like, "Oh shit!" Literally, almost the movie. There's no point. So it slid down. It is also a 4 out of 5 for me because I love the Flash. Unfortunately, Ezra Miller did a great job. Terrible human, good actor.
Keeps his job for another day.
Yeah, the Barry, it looked great. I mean, there were times where I was just looking to see if the back of the head was actually Ezra Miller's or, they did a good job. So
it's seamless with that. And
4 out of 5 for me.
And Ezra Miller playing both those parts, even though I didn't like younger Barry, he played him differently enough to you're like, those are almost 2 different characters.
Oh yeah, he did a great job. He really did. So
I just wish he wasn't a villain.
Maybe if you're a trash human, you do great in roles.
True.
Maybe that's just how it works.
That's very true.
I just hope, when Jonathan Major's trial gets concluded, that he can get some chops again.
Shit. Yeah.
Speaking of that brings me to one of the things I had on here was how bad has Ray Fisher pissed off people where he can't even be in any of the movies. Like every motherfucker from Justice League shows up individually, and Ray Fisher is Cyborg is spoken about. Never.
He's a black dude. What do you expect?
He got whiteballed for real, bro.
He was the first.
I was hoping they'd bring him too because I really liked him.
He was the first person to really start the Joss Whedon is a terrible human being.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. To be fair, Charisma Carpenter had been saying it for years. Yeah. No one listened to her. Right. Yes. You're She's been saying that for years. Yeah.
But he's the one that brought it into the mainstream.
Yes, but he's the one who people listen to.
Yeah. Because he's a man. That's why.
Sure.
I don't know if they even listened to him because I feel like
because they did listen to him.
Said by Christopher Carpenter, and that she was pushed away. He said it, and he was pushed away. It didn't become a thing until like everybody revolted. And let's be completely honest: if Justice League was a hit, we still wouldn't be talking about it right now.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you.
It flopped, and he became exposed, and that's when everybody started like, "Oh yeah, she said that, and he said that." And let's be real, both of them, Chris Carpenter and him, they both have pretty much been whiteballed out of anything. Like you don't see her in anything, and she was coming up, and he hasn't been in crap. I think Tyler Perry was trying to get him a job because he ain't done nothing.
I mean, because he was an up and comer, and he had the audacity to be like, "I don't want to be treated like shit on a movie set." And
but they're so cold with it, they won't even like half his character CGI. They can't even like show his boots flying off somewhere. Like they're so cold with it. They're like he's not even in like shots with his back turned to people. Like
maybe that'll change. Maybe that'll change with the new James Gunn. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, Gunn ain't doing that shit. Gunn ain't touching that.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, like that's because here's the thing: it wasn't just about Joss Whedon. It was about the whole structure at DC, and that's what got him thrown away because he went above Joss Whedon to a higher up. Higher up didn't do shit. He was like, "You just got to suck it up and take it." He went above that guy. Another guy was like, "Why are you even talking to me? I don't even know who you are." And he's calling out the whole entire studio system, and that's why he is no longer working. Because it almost happened to John Boyega too, because but John Boyega at least had more people liked him, I guess, because he still gets roles. But because he was like, no one had my back, like no one, and the whole entire studio system was all just to propagate Joss Whedon being a terrible, terrible human being, and everybody's at fault. And they're like, "Well, we're not at fault. We're just the money people, and you go away." Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Also, is it was there even technically a villain in this movie? Like I felt like at the end,
no, because there was no Reverse Flash.
No, there's no villain in this movie.
Yeah.
Because at first I thought
I guess
person was going to be the Reverse Flash. I was like, "Oh, cool, they're going to do the Reverse Flash." But as we are going to the end of the movie and we're fighting Zod for like the last 25 minutes, like they're not going to bring up the Reverse Flash at all. And then you're like, as soon as he, Supergirl and Batman die, you're like, "Oh, I see what they're doing here. That guy's the Reverse Flash, and he's not really the Reverse Flash because he's just
he's not. They better not. I'm not okay with that."
And I was like, "Oh,
Age of Ultron minus Ultron."
And that's probably why, like, I did not end up giving this movie a higher score than I did, is because like there's so much good stuff to like about this movie, but like there's so much stuff that like if they just put it in because it's a Flash movie and it was probably the last Flash movie you're going to get for a while, it would have made this so much better, and they did. Especially since they rewrote this movie like 4 times and didn't even start. This movie was supposed to come out in like 2018.
If they would just left it Flashpoint, like, it's fine. It's fine. I'm moving on with my
life. My last one is: do you think George Clooney is actually going to be the new Batman?
Hell no.
Going forward?
Hell no.
So you think it was just a gag?
No. It's just a gag. There's no way in hell they're making George Clooney the Batman. No way.
Look, hear me out here for a second here. This is going to be wild to think about it. So we know Henry Cavill's out. We know that's done. We know the Brave and the Bold. He said he wants older Bruce Wayne to play the Batman in this one because we're going to get a Robin in this one. DC right now doesn't have any star power. Like,
they have Ben Affleck. They have Henry Cavill.
Ben Affleck's, I'm saying, but he's gone. We know Ben Affleck's out. That's what I'm saying. Like, Jason Momoa is a star, but I don't think, like, he's not the echelon of, like, as I would say, like, as a Clooney. Could Clooney become, like, the RDJ of Gunn's universe? Because he would have the gravitas, he would have the name, and he could get butts and seats from people who normally wouldn't watch comic book movies because he's involved. And he's been a Comic-Con darling lately because he admits how bad Batman and Robin was, and he knows that it killed the comic. So him having this redemption story to come back in and rejuvenate DC as the new Batman kind of has a full circle-ish kind of feel, man.
Is it rejuvenating DC when you bring a guy who's already done it poorly-ish back into the role? It's not rejuvenating, and that's kind of
what I'm saying. If it works, he'll be the Batman's most popular comic book character out there. Let's just call it what it is. So if DC wins and he's Batman, he wins.
Let's bring Christian Bale back.
They should. I think that they should either bring Christian. I mean, I'm one of those people who I didn't hate Rob Pattinson.
Rob Pattinson.
They can still mold him, and he's young enough. I don't understand why they wouldn't.
I mean, he's old enough to have a Robin too.
And he has a built-in fan base of people who are just going to go see it because it's Rob Pattinson. Like, period. I know several women who went to go see that Batman movie just because Rob Pattinson was in it, and they've never seen a superhero movie in their life. So I don't understand why they're not just capitalizing on that. Like, and maybe they will, but I don't think George Clooney is it. I think George Clooney is like our moms, like getting our moms to go to the theater, but
that's not what we get because we going.
But the millennials are moviegoers. Baby boomers are all wait until it's on VHS.
Yeah, they're gonna wait until it's on. They're literally gonna wait until it's on VHS, which means they're gonna wait forever because it's never coming to VHS and they never seen it.
Well, that's what I'm getting to is that he will attract an audience that would not normally be attractable. Like everybody our age and younger, if it's Batman, is going to go see Batman. Let's just call it what it is.
Sure.
But if he's in that role, it's a lot of people that normally would not go see the movie that would go because he's in it. I don't know. It was just a thought. I don't think the movie. I think it's a gag. But if they did make it the move, like I could see how it could work.
If that were the case, I think they would have already advertised harder that George Clooney was in the movie to get people in their seats. And I know it was like fun at the end to do it, but I think that if they really thought that, they would have just blown the surprise and they would have just advertised the shit out of it.
Personally, for me, I don't think George Clooney's acting style and the way that he acts in movies really lends well to James Gunn's style. James Gunn's style. I think George Clooney is a great actor. I've seen him a lot of good stuff. I love him in the Ocean's movies. I just don't think he has sort of the menace necessary to pull off Batman. Again. And the reason that Ben Affleck did is because he's from Boston, he's racist.
and George Clooney was a Joel Schumacher Batman, so he got to be campy. So I mean,
and that's where George Clooney kind of lies, but
I think that he could do serious roles, George Clooney, but I just think that has passed. I just think it wouldn't hit. Is all I'm saying. So the question was, do you think that they would do it? Right? Is that what you said, Jason?
Well, they would.
They would do it to get more butts in the seat, and I don't think that they would. Is my answer to that question.
Well, I always asked too because I did some digging for that final scene. I actually did research for once for the show. Initially, when that was shot and it was reviewed to the early audiences, it ended on Barry being like, "Who the fuck is that?"
Yeah.
Like it ended there. Like they didn't have anybody shot there. And then further pictures had shown that it was Michael Keaton initially that was being shown, but it wouldn't have coincided because he knows who Michael Keaton is. Whatever. Yeah. So people feel like that was all dodges. And then I guess James Gunn had made a cryptic tweet about the Flashpoint would have the new Batman or whatever, but he ended up deleting it. So that's why people were thinking like, oh, could Clooney be the possible run? And he's done things like having an older Batman and blah, 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 blah. So
I would be 100% honest with why I hate George Clooney as Batman. It's because he's already been done before. I don't like this fucking nostalgia bait shit. I hate like this Flash movie. That's even in this kind of this like the only thing that's really been done well is the Spider-Verse movies. And this has kind of been like the thing for the last few years is that everything has to be like this nostalgia bait. Like you remember when that guy was Batman? He's the new Batman now. I don't want him to be Batman again. I'm sorry. I don't care. Like, it was not even really all that funny to me in the movie that he was like, oh, it's George Clooney. Like, yes, I get it. He was Batman at one point. Okay. Like, stop. Like, just stop.
Yeah.
Make new shit. All right. If you're gonna make new shit, make new shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Look, man,
Like,
that
stop.
But I
boat
also, yeah. But I just, where it says Jensen Ackles is going to be Batman, I would not be mad at that either. But
Oh,
that's
he's
because I'll
asked for
watch
it. He's
Yeah.
petitioned for it.
He would be great.
He
'cause
has
you know
the
what? It'll be
voice.
new and
Hell yeah.
different.
Yeah.
And fine. And he could play a younger Batman because he still looks pretty young for his age. He could play an older Batman because he's like 65 or
He
70
could
now.
play a naked Batman, and I wouldn't be mad at
He
it.
could just be a guy in a mask
No.
and nothing else.
Just wears a cowl. And that's
I'm
Just
a
out there.
Jensen Ackles guy.
I'm Batman.
Yes, I'm Batman.
I love. I can't believe, like I said, I love Jensen Ackles, and I can't believe I'm saying anything bad about Jensen Ackles, but I do not want him as Batman. Yeah, and I love Dean Winchester. I mean, you know, where everybody we talk about Supernatural all the time. He does voice Batman in the animated stuff.
Batman several times.
I don't know how to put my finger on it. Maybe because I have too much Dean Winchester engraved in my mind, that if I saw him as Batman, it will take a hell of an acting performance by him for me to be able to subvert that out of my mind. Because like Dean is like the everyman's hunter. Bruce Wayne is not that. Like, he's the total opposite of all the everyman anything. And I can see Dean playing the more emotional, like, down and out moments, because we saw it in Supernatural all the time. But when it needs to go to that suave, like, clean cut, blah, 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 I haven't seen enough of that from him. And that's where I would be like, I would always just see Dean. As soon as he eats a cheeseburger or eats a pie, it's Dean. I won't be able to unsee it. And then I already know he's gonna have a smooth car. It's Dean. So
if they ever were going to lead into this, could see him as an older Dick Grayson with an older Batman. If someone,
I could definitely
if Batman is like 50 plus,
I can see
that means he would be like the perfect age for a 30 to 40 Dick Grayson.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe have, you know, Jason Todd.
A lot of butt shots.
Yeah.
There you go.
And just sit there. Just swing it around.
I can see that. I can see that from him because he does have a lightheartedness.
And then you have freaking Alan Rickman as freaking Jason Todd. And James, I know you're watching. Write it down.
Yeah.
Like, we're already halfway there.
Yeah, we got it. Let's just present the movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Like Brad Pitt on TV. Yes, that's very true. All right. Is it time for any housewarming, house cleaning?
House cleaning.
The house is on fire.
So Jason and I did the interview with Hannah Flint, and it was amazing. So we need to post that. And
by we mean you, Jason. Because I will start looking at Skillshare videos on editing this week or next week.
And she said to share it with her, and she'll share our link in our podcast with all of her followers.
She actually knows people. She called Daniel Kaluuya Danny.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. I've only listened to the first like 15 minutes because I'm trying to mark things down that if I need to change, edit, or add stuff too. So I'm trying to.
Yeah, she just like nonchalantly was like, when I was interviewing Jamie Lee Curtis, and we're just like,
tell us more. You know, Jamie's a great woman. You know,
she's so great. Like, when she talks about this, because Jason had mentioned Halloween Kills, and she was like, "Oh, I actually like Halloween Kills, and here's why."
Yes,
I was interviewing Jamie Lee Curtis, and we were just like, tell us.
I knew I loved that woman for a reason. I knew I did.
I had a buddy who just, was on this movie, and I'm like, I sit in my basement in tequila.
She's amazing. She's a big old nerd.
Yeah, we did not
read her book
at all.
Yeah.
We barely talked about her book. Like, we felt so bad. We kept trying to bring it back, and she was like, "If y'all just want to talk about Marvel for an hour, we can do that." And we're like, "Well, we're pretty much doing that anyway." So
jealous. So
yeah, you should have been there, Jason. It was a lot of fun.
So that interview was very fun. She was very gracious to Jason and I. So we're excited for you guys. Yeah, well, I got to talk a lot. But
you want me to post? I mean, what day next week do you want me to post it? Which day do you guys prefer? You prefer a day?
Tuesdays, I think, are good post days.
Yeah.
So we'll have it up on Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. We'll have to make a opening for it because there's no opening. We just jump right in.
Oh, I saw.
Yeah,
I'll do my voiceover.
That's fine. Yeah,
welcome, canister.
Just so you guys know, Hannah only had 1 hour, and it was like that was all she had was an hour. So we didn't want to waste time on like introductions or anything. We just jumped right in, and we said we'll just
Jason attempted an introduction, and it just spiraled out to like full on conversation.
Yeah,
like they're like at one point they're like, "Oh, we'll just go on now." Like it's
yeah, it's great. So, but no, it was great. It was super fun. I'm excited for you guys to hear it. And then hopefully you guys will buy Hannah's book and fall.
If you haven't already.
Yeah.
Yes, strong female character.
Yeah, it was great. The ending is
great.
glorious.
Oh, yes.
Yes. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So that's all I think I have. Merch is coming. Hopefully I'm going to talk to someone. I guess it's already Friday. So next week, I'll talk to someone about getting us, at least the three of us, some merch. So that's it.
Yeah, I had some specs for logos. That's what you guys as well. I'm still trying to get some fire under him to get some crap done for us. So
did you
fingers crossed? What's up?
Did you pick a color scheme? I said
I asked you to pick a color scheme, and you said
I asked you to pick a color scheme.
He literally said, "Tell me what to pick." And
all right, you know what? I will go back to the color schemes that I was picking, and I will put them like so you can all see them, and we'll just vote.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I like handling company business on the show. It makes me feel like all our audience is included in this.
Yeah.
But also, guys, don't forget to go to headcannonscircus.com. You can, sign up and you can suggest things to us, and you can comment on our blogs and our movies and leave comments and stuff, and we will read them. Jason loves reading comments, and this is a place that will be in a central location, and all that other good stuff. And there are no blogs right now, but I'm definitely going to talk about The Greatest Showman because we definitely talked about that with Hannah.
Yeah, we talked about it with Hannah. We sure did.
And Lisa finally figured out why I'll never watch that stupid movie.
Well, you never articulated that
because I didn't want to. Because I did not want to burden you with that. Okay. You enjoy it. I said I will not participate, but it's something you enjoy. So I was like, just let it go because that's what they enjoy. I don't want to ruin it. But that dude's a fucking scumbag, and I hope he's burning in hell with Ronald Reagan, Elvis.
Whoa. We say that's the end of the show. That's the end of the show. Jeez, Jason.
We're not there yet.
And various other people should be there with him. But go to headcannonscircus.com and make sure to log in to subscribe and log in and interact with us, please.
We got to get on writing some blogs. Okay. Guys, just remember to check out Sketch and Review. We had last week we had William on from Sketch and Review.
He was a blast.
Great guy.
Such a great guy.
Yeah, I need to get up with him so we can catch a movie because we talked about doing some right out of the theater posts or like shorts. So I'm gonna try to work on that with him. But you guys are welcome to, and I will. What's up?
We should get more scumbags on the show. So like, don't forget last week when we watched the thing with Ben Shapiro. Fucking asshole. Hate his guts. But you gotta check it out.
So yeah. Again, and I'll try to plan these movie watching things early enough so that you all could be there and be involved as well. Because I'm the king of the last minute. Hey, I'm gonna go see a movie. Bang bang. So I'll try to plan this out more. Give everybody opportunities to be involved. We're gonna work on that. But yeah, check out his site, Sketch and Review. Again, like always, support Black-owned businesses.
Like this one.
Yep.
Yes.
Brown Sugar, Sweet Brown Sugar Bakery on Grayson It's my folks, my peoples. I love them out there. I still haven't got to that juice bar yet I talked about last week. So that's going to be on our itinerary this weekend to go into downtown Lawrenceville.
Ooh,
not the DTL, but downtown Lawrenceville.
Oh.
No one calls it that.
Go to that juice bar and check that out. And other than that, man, thanks everybody for watching and viewing our stuff. Really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Lisa,
Thank
any
you, guys.
closing words you want to say?
No, be nice, be kind, rewind.
That's what I say, Lisa.
You say be kind, rewind?
No, I say
Okay.
Thanks everybody for joining us. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Also, be kind and considerate to one another. And if you can tip your bartenders at least 20%, if not more, you for it. That's what I say.
Good
and
job.
I also say,
Jaron, and if
you see Jaron on the streets, you know, it's Juneteenth, so run them pockets, rob his ass.
Without further ado, yes, he deserves to die.
Whoa. I haven't hit the button yet.